In the summer of 2021, Norwich City paid a potential £10 million for a 19-year-old Greek winger from PAOK Thessaloniki. He was fast, direct, confident on the ball, the kind of player who could change a game in 30 seconds if you gave him the space and trusted him to use it. Norwich did not trust him. Not once, not really. Dean Smith looked at the most promising young Greek footballer in a generation and decided he was not ready, then decided he was surplus to requirements, then sent him out on loan twice to clubs in the Netherlands and Germany where nobody was watching closely, and the price tag from a failed Premier League experiment sat over everything he did like a question mark he could not answer. That was the story of Christos Tzolis that the football world wrote. Overpaid, overrated, another foreign teenager who could not cut it in England. Here is the truth. In the 2025-26 season at Club Brugge, Christos Tzolis recorded 17 goals and 23 assists, 40 direct contributions, an average match rating of 8.07. He won the Belgian Pro League title, the Belgian Cup, and the Belgian Super Cup. He's 24 years old, and most of the football world still hasn't noticed. To understand what Norwich wasted, you have to understand what Thessaloniki built. Christos Tzolis grew up in Pentalofos, a small village in northern Greece. He joined PAOK's academy at 8 years old. Not the most glamorous pathway into professional football, not the Clairefontaine pipeline or the Barcelona academy or the Ajax youth system that football documentaries get made about. But PAOK produces serious players, hard players, players who understand that Greek football does not give you anything because of your potential. It gives you things because you take them. Tzolis took them. By 17, he was scoring senior goals for PAOK. At 18, he scored a brace in a Champions League qualifying match against Beşiktaş, a club with 30,000 supporters who had been in European football longer than most players Tzolis had ever faced. He did not look nervous. He looked like he was supposed to be there. He was named MVP of the Greek Super League opener, aged 18. At 19, his contract was bought by a Premier League club for a fee that made his hometown stand still. Norwich City, the Premier League, England. For a kid from Pentalofos, that was supposed to be the beginning. Instead, it nearly became the end. There is a particular kind of football cruelty reserved for players who arrive at the wrong club at the wrong moment. Norwich were relegated from the Premier League in his first season. The club was in transition. The manager changed. The philosophy changed. And Tzolis, who had been signed with genuine excitement, found himself in the queue behind players the new regime already trusted. Dean Smith did not hide it. Norwich were happy to let Tzolis move to Europe, according to reports at the time. The club that had paid a potential £10 million was comfortable releasing him on loan because they did not see a place for him in their plans. £10 million. Unwanted. At 20 years old.
He went to Twente in the Netherlands for the 2022-23 season. Decent numbers, a good season by most measures, but the Netherlands is not the Premier League, and nobody was updating their opinion of Christos Tzolis based on what happened at Twente. Then Fortuna Düsseldorf in Germany's second division for 2023-24, another loan, another level below where he had been bought to compete. The price tag failing, the opportunity shrinking. 2 years of loans in countries where football fans were not paying close attention to a winger who had been written off before he was old enough to have a second act. Except that is not what happened. What happened was that Christos Tzolis arrived at Club Brugge in the summer of 2024 and quietly had one of the best 2 seasons any winger has produced in Belgian football in recent memory. Club Brugge did not make a big deal of signing him. There was no announcement that sent shakewaves through European football, no press conference where the director talked about landing a hidden gem. It was a loan with an option to buy, the same structure that had defined the previous 2 years of his career, and nobody expected the outcome to be different this time. But something changed at Bruges, or rather, something that had always been there was finally given the conditions to show itself. Nicky Hain, the Bruges manager, gave Tzolis the ball and told him to be decisive, to take players on, to use the directness and the speed and the left foot that had made PAOK excited about him at 17 and Norwich excited about him at 19. He was not asked to fit into someone else's plan. He was asked to be the plan. And he answered. In his first full season, the numbers were impressive. In his second, the 2025-26 campaign, they became extraordinary. 17 goals, 23 assists, 40 direct contributions in a single season in a competition where Club Brugge were expected to be champions, and Tzolis was a primary reason why they were.
He scored his first Champions League goal against Arsenal. At the Camp Nou level of European football, Christos Tzolis was producing numbers that mid-table Premier League players dream about producing. The player, Norwich said, was not ready, had become one of the most complete attacking midfielders in the Belgian top flight, and he was 24 years old. Here is the truth about Christos Tzolis that nobody is talking about. He was not a failed experiment. He was a player who needed to be trusted, who needed a manager who saw him as the solution rather than the problem, and who needed time in an environment that wanted him to succeed rather than an environment that was comfortable letting him fail. Norwich spent £10 million on a player they never properly used and then told the market he was surplus to requirements. That verdict followed him for 3 years. It shaped every conversation about him. It sat in the background of every loan move like evidence of something being wrong. Nothing was wrong. The player who scored braces in Champions League qualifiers at 18 was the same player who produced 40 contributions at 24. The talent was always there. What changed was the environment around it. Who Scored rates his key passing as very strong, his finishing as very strong, his crossing as strong, his set-piece delivery as strong. These are not the ratings of a player who needed to be hidden from first-team football for 3 years. These are the ratings of a complete attacking midfielder who was given the wrong platform and then found the right one. Greece now have a player capable of being their most important footballer for the next decade. Club Brugge have a player who has just won them a league title with 40 direct contributions. The rest of European football is starting to pay attention. But the question that hangs over all of it is the one nobody at Norwich City has had to answer publicly. What would Christos Tzolis have become if someone had trusted him 3 years earlier? Some players need time, not because they are not ready, because the clubs around them are not ready to see what they actually are. Christos Tzolis spent 3 years being defined by a £10 million price tag that a championship club had placed on him and then walked away from. He spent 2 loans in leagues nobody was watching. He spent a period of his career being the answer to a question nobody was asking. At 24, in Bruges, in front of Champions League scouts and national team managers and the football world finally paying attention, he's asking the question himself. 17 goals, 23 assists, 3 trophies, 1 season. The truth about Christos Tzolis is not complicated. He was never the problem. The problem was everyone who had the chance to see it and looked away. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, leaving a like, commenting below, and sharing it with other football fans. Thank you for watching.